You okay?
You're too excited,
I am. I'm so happy to be back.
Yes, we're happy to be back, and today we've got quite a lot to talk about.
Yes, but first, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Patty Lee. Did you miss her? I did.
Yes, and I missed you, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I love your hairstyle.
I know, a lot has happened.
You look like 5 years younger.
You should see what happened to me. Anyway, oh gosh.
Alrighty.
I have a question for you.
Please.
You're vegetarian, right?
Yes, I'm vegetarian.
Is that fun?
It's fun, actually. It's pretty fun in Taiwan. All the kinds of different food, different styles you can get in Taiwan.
Okay, but
So good.
do you get like cravings still?
You mean craving for?
Like meat?
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Fried chicken, Japanese food, and
Ooh, what we got? What we got?
what we got here?
Hello!
Hello!
You're new!
Are you here to satisfy my cravings for? What do you have today?
Thank you, Miss W. What do we have? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
What is
You were talking about satisfying the cravings for.
meat? This looks so offensive. I'm sorry.
No, guys. Hey, it's not what it looks like.
I know, this
Have
is...
a taste.
This
Have
is,
a taste. Salmon,
It tastes like salmon.
squid,
How is this possible?
and I'm having it. It's not real animals.
This is black magic.
Let's look at our VCR and tell us everything about this.
Taiwan today is known for many things: semiconductors, LED light, boba milk tea. But you may not know that Taiwan is a nation where vegetarianism is so widespread that it is easily accessible, affordable, and very innovative. According to a government report, the percentage of vegetarians in Taiwan is around 12%, which translates to roughly 2.7 million people. This means that at least 1 in every 10 people in Taiwan follows a vegetarian diet. And how did vegetarianism become so popular? Well, this prevalence of vegetarianism comes from the religious beliefs in Taiwan. Just over a third of the population is Buddhist, and Buddhism advocates vegetarianism because of its principles of non-harming. As a result, Taipei was recognized as one of the top 10 cities for vegetarians by CNN. There are more than 6,000 vegetarian restaurants and 600 vegan restaurants, with everything from inexpensive buffets to high-end restaurants. Some vegetarian restaurants even serve highly elaborate dishes that taste nearly identical to the meat-based dishes they're derived from. With this kind of innovation, who needs to eat meat?
Andrew,
Yeah.
you had some vegetarian salmon
Yeah.
and tuna as well.
Is that tuna salad?
It's tuna salad. we have, you were talking about fun.
Yeah.
This is the fun food we're having.
This is fun. This is fun.
And these guys are experts
Right.
on vegetarian food,
Okay.
vegan food.
Okay.
Sydney, you've tried this before?
Yeah, I
you
think
have.
it's a buffet.
Do you like it?
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's alive. It's alive.
It's alive. It's alive.
It's okay,
It's
right?
very tasty.
Yeah.
It'll go better with wasabi.
Wasabi is good.
why-
What about John?
Do you like this?
I can't even stand the real stuff.
Oh, really? You can't even stand real salmon?
Most of it's farmed, which has different flavor from the wild, so yeah, I usually stay away from it now.
Okay. Okay. Man.
And it looks like it belongs in a candy store.
It does. It looks like taffy.
Yeah, it's more like something I would see in a candy store, not a food store.
Yeah. So everyone here is a vegetarian.
Yes, including me.
Okay. That's right. What kind of vegetarian are you?
Well, because I dive.
Okay.
You know, I look out for the environment. So actually, my vegetarian is originated from the environment. I want to protect the environment.
Okay.
Yes, so
Okay.
that's why I started to stop eating meat, no fish,
Huh.
That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, for the environment. So it's about my thoughts and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
What about John?
Mine's just because of too many accidents over the years, so for my health.
For your health.
Just to improve memory, improve health after accidents.
Yes. Okay.
So the majority of my diet is vegetable-based now, but I'm not strict. I'll still have meats or fish or whatever.
What's the phrase for if you're like not a really strict vegetarian?
I think it was flexi-veg.
Flexitarian.
Flexitarian?
Yes.
That's a pretty new phrase.
I don't identify as a meat eater. I don't identify as a vegetarian.
Okay, so what about 蛋奶素? Is the vegetarian?
You eat dairy.
You eat dairy.
You
You
have
have
dairy
eggs.
and eggs.
Who's
Anyone
this
any one
kind
of those?
No
think
eggs, no dairy for you.
I eat eggs.
You do eat eggs?
But I just out of convenience. But if I'm outside in the street, just easier to buy something that eggs are in the ingredients.
Right.
But I will not eat like boiled egg stuff like that. Just flavor thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll accept the limit. Your border is eggs.
Yeah.
That's vegetarian.
Yeah. He's got a okay.
That's the common vegetarian.
right. 蛋奶素.
蛋奶素.
Right. Very common.
Yeah, but I think in English there's like actually two different words, right? Lacto and ovo.
Yes.
Lacto means like dairy,
Dairy,
vegetarian.
cheese, milk.
Right. Just
Right.
like dairy
All
products.
dairy products you can eat.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Because also in English, usually eggs are included in dairy products.
Yeah, but in India, no.
Oh, okay.
In
Okay.
India, no?
No.
Okay.
If you are vegetarian, then in India, like only dairy products and vegetables and lentils, other stuff, but no egg, no meat, nothing.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the most you'll do is like cheese and milk
Yes.
and yogurt.
Indian cottage cheese we make at home.
Right. Right.
Yeah, we can buy from supermarket.
Okay.
Yogurt. So nice like lassi.
Yes.
Yeah,
Lassi is good. Mango lassi, I love
I
that.
like it salty, like the masala.
Oh, yeah, it's really nice.
So
it
nice.
depends, yeah.
So in India, the cutoff is a bit more strict. The eggs are counted as meat.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Coming from animal.
Right, that makes
Anything
sense.
from
Yeah.
animal.
Okay, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. And then 全素.
全素 is quite specific because it has something to do with the Asian
It's some there's a religious aspect to
cultural
it. Is
stuff.
anyone here 全素?
全素,
No, but I
which
know about
means
I think it's like the vegans of vegans.
No.
Because they don't eat allium, right? They don't even eat certain vegetables.
allium contains
Allium's like
Garlic.
onions, garlic, leeks.
Onion, garlic, ginger,
ginger.
and no alcohol.
it has something to do with Buddhism and Taoism.
Yes.
right?
And Jainism too, right?
Yes.
Okay,
In
okay.
Indian Jains are different from Taiwanese Jain. Like Buddhism and
Yeah.
Indian Jains are different.
Right.
Because in Indian Jains they don't eat onion, garlic, but they do ginger.
Okay.
And some of them they use alcohol also.
Okay.
They consume alcohol.
Okay.
And there are certain Jain in India who doesn't eat carrot.
Carrots.
Yes.
Carrots?
Yes. Some vegetables.
Cindy, you're pretty surprised.
Yes.
See, I told you, they're like the vegans of vegans. There's certain vegetables they don't eat.
in India.
Cindy was like, no.
Yes. They don't eat potatoes as well.
Potatoes.
Yes. No potatoes. No.
May I know what the reason is?
Yeah.
Potatoes and carrots.
Yeah, not the roots.
Oh, because
Yeah, anything belongs to roots, they don't eat.
Oh, because that would kill the plant.
Yes. And
no.
they
If you
don't
cut the
eat.
leaves, the plant can keep living.
Yeah.
Okay, so no taro either.
No taro either.
Wow.
Oh no, I cannot
is
live
so
there.
Yes.
Is there a name for this kind of diet?
Jain. Indian Jain.
Okay.
Indian
That's
Jain.
religious.
Yes.
part of
religious
religion.
purpose.
Yeah. And then coming on down the line is vegans seem pretty chill after all, you know?
Cindy, right?
That's still fine.
Cindy is vegan.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
Okay. So how long have you been vegan?
Since 2015.
2015. That's
It's like
quite a while.
eight,
Yeah,
seven
eight
years.
years.
Almost 10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
What was the reason you became vegan?
A long story, but in short, it's my pet. My pet was dying, and then I was not in Taiwan, so I was kind of like made a wish if I could arrive Taiwan and get to meet him like the last
Yeah.
time, and then I would just go like meatless. I think at the beginning I was just saying I should go meatless to
Right.
kind of like praying for good
answer the-
thoughts,
yeah,
right?
yes.
Like a praying thing.
Ah, so it's
Right.
like making a wish.
That's the beginning.
That's a pretty.
Still religious purpose, right?
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual thing.
Yeah,
it's a
spiritual
tradition
thing.
people have in Taiwan.
Talking about making wishes, when I was around 10 years old, my grandma passed away, and when she passed away, our whole family had to be like strict
Vegetarian.
vegetarian for 3 months.
全素吗？
全素.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was kind of religious
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
hoping she would, you know,
Yeah.
go to heaven and
Right.
get a good afterlife.
Right,
So
right.
it's like a praying a blessing to your family or to your loved ones.
Right.
I think it's pretty similar
Yeah.
to how Sydney started.
Because I have a similar thing too.
Really?
My family on Chinese New Year,
Right.
we don't eat meat on the first day.
初一.
Cui, yeah. On the first day of the New Year, we don't eat meat. And it's the idea of like being grateful, you know,
Yes.
appreciating what
Right,
we have.
right,
So yeah, it's
right.
very common.
It's very common. And
Asia.
you know, we are ranked number 2 in the whole world of people-
Vegetarian convenience.
Yes, yes. So I think it's pretty easy to have vegetarian food in Taiwan, vegan food in Taiwan,
Is
right,
it?
man?
Have you guys had
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot easier in Canada, obviously. Like in Canada, if you want to have certain meals, you're going to have to go to this market, this market, this market, this market, just to try and find all your different vegetables.
Yeah.
Here, I can go down to the morning market or afternoon market, and it's all laid out. I don't have to go everywhere. It's right here. So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, it's much more convenient
Yes.
than Canada. In Canada, you won't eat as many vegetables because it's too much hassle.
So plant-based is really easy in Taiwan.
Yeah, it's much easier.
What about eating out?
Eating out, there's a lot more choices unless you're a super strict vegetarian. Because they might fry something in something that's already fried pork.
Right.
So if you're a strict vegetarian, you'd have to ask before, have you fried any meats or fish in that pan?
Right.
Or tiny little shrimps.
Tiny little shrimps.
I go to vegetarian restaurants and they have those little dry red shrimps mixed in with things for flavor.
Do
It's
you
like,
yell at the boss?
I thought this was vegetarian.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's our flavor. And I go, you know, I hate that flavor, number one. And if I was a vegetarian, I wouldn't want that in here.
We get a lot of vegetarian buffet restaurants and stuff like this.
Yeah.
See? You pick your own
Yeah.
favorites and stuff.
Yeah, this is an open buffet and it's
Yeah.
all vegetarian. It's all vegetarian. Do you go to these kinds of places?
Yeah,
Nicholas?
actually, I stop at those all the time.
How about you,
They're
Nicholas?
actually pretty good.
So, Nicholas, eating in Taiwan vegetarian is okay for you? Vegan?
It's convenient. It's actually easy. The fact that a lot of places like 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Carrefour, PX Mart, they have a vegetarian place,
Section.
like a section that you can go there. That those things are completely vegan or vegetarian.
Right.
May I comment on something?
Please,
I have
please, you
to
don't need to
say-
raise your hand. Just
I have
jump
to
in.
do this like for the audience. Like I think it's in the recent 2 years, like the whole 7-Eleven thing brought up this whole like convenience store or grocery store green section.
trend.
Yeah, it was actually not. It was not there
before,
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go
Before
shopping,
COVID, yeah.
Yeah, and then after I think 7-Eleven was the first one, and then after it started to launch this like vegetarian thing, like
Yeah.
the lunchbox microwave thing.
Yes.
And then all other like Family Mart
Yeah.
follow up and like Carrefour, it's just like a lot of Imei, I think. They just started to do this like microwave thing. So when you go to the grocery store, supermarket, you could just find this like green area. And people are like,
Easy.
yeah.
Yes, I know.
It was right. It was like a new era for us.
So all of these, after this conversation, you're the only one.
I'm the
that-
only one who eats meat regularly here. I don't know. I felt like I'm pretty good because a lot of the times, especially in like Asian cuisine and that you find in Taiwan too, is meat is not always the main feature. It's kind of used as a flavoring.
Right.
Right. So it's like you say, it's like a little shrimp thing, you know, that adds umami, or it's like, you know, pieces of pork, or you
Yeah,
know, stir
minced pork
fry.
like a mapo tofu.
Mapo, yeah, you have little bits of
minced meat in it.
Or
It is
with the
vegetarian dish.
eggplants,
Right,
鱼香
right.
茄子,
Yeah, exactly.
yum.
Yeah, it's so good, right? But it's like it's not like meat forward as much as it's a part of the flavor. So I feel like that would be the hardest thing for me to give up if I had to go vegetarian.
No. We have a lot of substitutes for that.
Really?
Now we have like omni pork. These are vegetarian or vegan?
Did you hear him
is
scoff?
vegan, plant-based.
And he went like, no.
He's like, nah.
I call it
No.
manufactured product.
Well, they are just a
It's
substitute.
food science.
Science, right? This is very
All
good.
right, well let's have a battle. Let's set it up. Let's set it
have
up.
a battle.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Wow! This is the famous Beyond Burger.
Wow. Fake cheese, vegan cheese.
Hey, it's vegan cheese, and it has a lot of science, a lot of hard work in
It's
it.
like the pink of the meat.
Okay, John is like,
Do you want to try this?
Oh, I gotta try it.
Yeah,
Try it out. It doesn't taste like a real burger, but it sort of tastes like some kind of meat.
Okay.
And
so
it's
it tastes
good,
like
right?
meat.
It's good, right? It's good stuff.
It's close enough that if I were hungry, I could do it.
welcome back to
World Taiwan!
my favorite part. Wow.
Okay.
We were asking all the good stuff, all the fun stuff you can have if you're
I gotta try
vegetarian.
this.
It's so
I don't
good.
even know where to start.
Oh,
How is it?
and this is chicken. Chicken as well.
Supposed to be chicken, yeah.
Vegetarian chicken.
That just sounds so weird. Vegetarian chicken.
Yeah. The chicken was vegetarian.
It's a future trend. We still have craving for good food.
That's surprisingly.
Okay, John, what are you having? Look at your face. It's really good, huh?
What is this? The meatball?
I love it.
Yeah, it's
sauce.
supposed to be meatball.
Mandy, you have a restaurant in Hualien, right? Opening a restaurant in Hualien, is it easy? A vegetarian one? Is it easy?
It wasn't easy at that time, and we thought it is easy to sell them like more meat.
Yeah.
Because we didn't expect there will be like more vegetarian people over there.
In Hualien?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And we put only 6 to 7 items in our menu for vegetarian and more item for meat, chicken, and other stuff.
Right.
Okay.
But right now, because of the Buddhism over there,
Yeah.
there's Suchi. They have like a university over there. They have a hospital.
University,
I think it's a big community over there.
Yes.
Yes, and now I think we are finding our menu is small. So people are more demanding for the vegetarian
That's so
meal.
good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So for that thing, now we took initiative and we are going to open another one. That is bigger one, so it has a more
Congrats.
vegetarian
That's
option.
awesome. That's so
congratulations.
good.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Wow. Oh, cool.
We should go together.
Yeah, some more
for the
vegetarian
opening.
options.
We have vegetarian food one night, and then go have tacos the next.
Nicholas, are you enjoying these?
Yes, I tried this one that I don't really know what it is, but it tastes amazing, a little bit
Is this
spicy.
like a kind of like
Supposed to be like
a
a chili.
Buddha bowl or
So,
chili?
yeah.
Go for it, go for it.
Okay, sure, yeah. I was trying to show it off, but I'm just gonna do it.
Like a bean salad, maybe?
I love chickpeas.
Yeah, it's eating.
That's pretty good.
It's really good, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
I love this one. It is spicy.
This is called 回锅肉.
There's nothing wrong with this roll.
回锅.
I gotta see what a vegetarian chicken
Substitute
tastes
roe.
like.
Yeah.
This is really good.
Yeah.
So Sydney, you've been all over the country having so many different kind of vegetarian, vegan dishes. Yeah. How do you feel about the environment of being vegan in Taiwan?
One thing I like the most is that we have so many more like real vegan restaurants.
What do you mean real vegan?
Because like in Taiwan, like vegan is very undefined, and people are just like clueless about what's happening there. So actually, some people will use vegan when they're actually a vegetarian restaurant. They just like had the sign saying vegan restaurant, but it's actually not vegan. So that will be very confusing for foreigners because foreigners, they don't read Chinese. So the
Yeah.
only thing they know is this is
Vegan.
look right.
Yes.
So and then if you look at Google Map, a lot of restaurant has like their little tag says vegan restaurant, which is not.
Okay.
So I mean that's not. I mean for locals we read Chinese, so we don't have any problems. But for travelers, that'll be
Right.
a lot.
I
So-
think vegan is a trend. So it will be more in future. Like for example, in our restaurant also, the new one. So we are going to put vegan sections over there.
Oh, that's
But we
awesome.
can't open only vegan. So if we put only vegan, there are very less community. We can't survive.
Right.
So we have to. So what we have done, so we are making separate section for the vegan and vegetarian people.
Okay.
So utensils, oil, everything is separate.
Wow.
No, that is very
So
important.
a separate part of your kitchen
Yes,
too.
Yes.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
And we
I
have a
think-
huge kitchen in our new restaurant.
I think what Mandy is doing is to encourage the meat eaters to
Right.
try vegetarians, to
Right.
try vegan. It's not that difficult and it tastes so good.
It is
Yeah,
easy
yeah,
because my
yeah.
mother, my parents, they are also vegetarian.
Yes, that's
So
important.
everything is, and they are like when you make a naan or like khao ping in Chinese. So we put milk in.
Khao ping.
Khao ping.
Yeah, and look at the burger. This is the famous Beyond Burger.
Wow.
Fake cheese, vegan
Hey, it's vegan cheese, and it has a lot of science, a lot of hard work in
It's
it.
like the pink of the meat.
Okay, John is like,
Don't.
you
Do you want to try this?
Oh, I gotta try it.
Yeah, try it out. Try it
guys,
out.
who wants to try this?
No, I'll go all messed up. I don't know.
Oh, that's not Mandy?
Go for it,
Mandy,
Mandy,
go
go for
for
it.
it.
I will
Oh,
try
it's so
it.
Let us
good.
know. Let us
Yeah,
know
big
how it
mouth.
is.
This is one of my favorite restaurants in Taipei.
Yeah, they're very good.
How is it?
Oh,
Okay, let's see what
How is
the...
What's the verdict?
Not bad.
Yeah?
I like it.
And John, look at John's face.
Maybe I think he's finding steak in it.
He's trying to find something. Yeah, he's trying to
he's
find
confused.
It doesn't taste like a real burger, but it sort of tastes like some kind of meat.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
it's
it tastes
good,
like
right? It's
meat.
good, right? It's good.
It's close enough that if I were hungry, I could do it.
That's the whole point.
That's
Save
a win.
animals.
That's a win.
That's a good step
For
forward.
vegans.
It's not something I would deliberately go and seek. But if I was starving and it was something close
Yeah,
by,
but like
it'll do.
if it's under like your home,
It'll do.
just like next to your home,
Right,
you
like
will go and get it, right?
Yes.
I don't know, I might be tempted to walk that extra 3 blocks to McDonald's.
John, go sit down.
I need exercise. That's what the doctor told me. Exercise. Well, McDonald's is 3 blocks away.
Exercise to McDonald's.
What about for Nicholas? Have you tried the Beyond Burger?
Tried. Actually, I like them a lot. It's the same thing. It doesn't replace 100% the taste of meat. But if you don't care as much and you just want some junk food, you know.
Satisfaction.
Yes. Sometimes you just want to have like
Simple.
prices and like
Comfort.
a burger, you know. Yeah. It's perfect, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Give it back, John.
I'm just trying to
If you
figure out
don't
what
like it, I like it. I'll take it.
It's not appreciating it enough.
Oh, no, it doesn't taste like hamburger. It
is
tastes
really
like
nice,
some
though.
kind of
Yeah,
other meat
look
I've
at
had.
I think it's supposed to be pork.
That chicken one is good, though.
Yeah.
We should
And
let.
that's another thing I dislike about a lot of the fake foods. It's the texture of the food. But that chicken, it tastes like chicken.
Right.
And when you bite into it, it has the same effect as chicken, the same texture.
Yes.
You mean
That-
this one?
The psychological effect,
I
yeah.
think it depends, you know, where you're buying from. It is like a good one, cheap
Well, yeah,
material,
I'm sure
or
there's
like
good
a
and bad.
There's a
high-end.
specific store for selling these, we
Yes.
call it
Yeah.
塑料, the
Right.
ingredients.
Yeah.
I think eating, if we say chicken or say pork, it's actually for the mind.
Yes,
It's not
psychology
for,
thing.
Yes, it's a psychology thing. We don't want to hurt animals, but we still,
You crave
know,
the texture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we thank you, everybody.
Thank you, science.
Science!
It's so good. Look at this. This is so good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Guys, full?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Take your seat. Take your seat. Wow. So, meat eater.
Yeah.
Can I invite you to a vegetarian restaurant now?
I'm not against it. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah?
if you guys will have me, yeah.
But I think after having like a meatless diet, I feel the differences of my body change.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I have very, very, very bad nose allergy. I'm allergic to almost anything. But after having a meatless diet, I think it changed a lot.
Really?
It got better.
Really?
Yeah. From John.
What about you?
This is how you started vegetarian, right?
Vegetables, plants and stuff, they've been used for centuries, but not just because of like cultural or ethical things, just because of what they do to your body. Like we know certain vegetables and certain colors have certain effects. For me, right now, my health that's important is my mind. So I boil turmeric, ginger, sliced lemons together, and I drink 1 liter of that every day. That cleans out your mind. It gets rid of certain
Toxins.
Yeah, it basically cleans out the toxins, which lead to certain diseases.
Okay.
So, 3 years ago, I get a diagnosis and MRI that doesn't look very good. So I decided, okay, well, I know that this, and this is all good for the brain, so let's try it. I
You tried it.
drink 1 liter every day for a couple years, and the last MRI showed completely clear, no atrophy left at all.
Whoa.
Now, science says that's not possible. We need to find a cure, and it's like, well, I just showed it. It's these have been around for centuries and centuries. Chinese medicines, a lot of them, it's just a piece of a root or a certain leaf from a certain plant. But each type of plant or vegetable has some medicinal property.
Yes, it is.
So that's what people don't understand about it. It doesn't matter whether it's your ethical or cultural or your own personal beliefs. The science of vegetables is why I do it. I love meat. I know meats have certain values too, but those meats won't help certain parts of health. Whereas I need these vegetables for that certain thing. So
Okay.
I try and include more in my diet now.
Turmeric is
really good for
is a trend, but it's been around for millions of years.
Yes,
for Indian
Ayurveda
people,
in
huh?
India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All masalas, all ginger, other stuff, we use it at a medicational purposes.
Right.
Yes,
right.
and
Yeah.
it's
it
true.
tastes amazing.
Right.
Yes.
That's the most important part.
That's the other advantage of it. A lot of these things taste really good.
Yeah, that's why in India more than like 42% people are vegetarians.
Right. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's incredibly high.
Yeah.
42%.
I think we are the number 1.
Wow.
So at your vegan frenzy fair,
Festival.
Yes. Are there any, promoting? You've been promoting for a couple of years?
The year I went vegan, the same year.
Oh, so that's
Okay.
about eight-ish years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, you really went all out. I'm going vegetarian. I'm starting a festival too. You're gonna do this with me. I'm not gonna do this alone.
And there must be a lot of
Actually sounds very heroic. I like that.
heroic. Good.
That's a very, very good way to say it.
Yeah, that's why in India more than like 42% people are vegetarians.
Right. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's incredibly high.
Yeah.
42.
I think we are the number one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet we're close up there too.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But you've been vegetarian since
Yeah.
you were born,
Yes,
right?
because my
Okay.
parents are actually
Yes.
vegetarians, so we never eat egg at home. We don't cook any meat at home. So pure vegetarian. Go to temple, and yeah, quite religious.
And how do you feel about being vegetarian?
I think I'm blessed. I think it's for my karma. In India, if we are killing somebody, so it's all about karma. I'm killing somebody,
Yep.
It's all, after my death, Allah, it's
pay it
long,
back.
yeah, it's pay
In
back.
Buddhism, we say 业障.
Yes, yes,
Run away.
yes, yes,
Right.
The
yes,
karma,
yes.
it's the same thing.
Yes.
The karma is the,
Yes.
yeah. So I think I'm blessed, and it's easy to meditate and make your body more lighter. Yeah.
Nicholas,
Hi.
any health benefits you felt after being
I did
vegan?
actually, because I actually started becoming vegetarian because of also ethical reasons. But I did enjoy some changes, like physically. For example, I do like to exercise, and if you eat a bunch of red meat and stuff like that, yes, it has protein and everything, but you feel full for a long time. It takes longer to process, you
And
know.
your body feels more heavy.
Yes.
right?
So eating lighter type of food, vegetarian food or
Yep.
vegan food, it definitely helps in that aspect. Also, if you have genetic problems, for example, in my family, it runs diseases, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, cancer, and we know for a fact that like some types of meat affect having colon cancer or stomach cancer. A lot of meat consumption also affect the heart or like cardiovascular
Right.
problems. So as a way of preventing, it's a good way to start there, you know. Not thinking, okay, if I follow this diet, I will never get sick. No, but maybe it will help a little bit, you know.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
How did your family feel about you being vegan
They
at first?
yeah,
Did they say
take
no?
time to think about it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they,
It's just really hard to like express, but it looks like you went through some pain.
And a lot of people
Coming out of the closet, I'm vegetarian.
I'm vegan.
You're not my son. Go away.
Hey, this happens. You've heard stories.
Yeah,
These
it takes
happens,
time
right?
for them to get used to it. But at home, we're Jewish, so we already have some dietary restrictions.
Okay.
And we also have the things like, as a Jewish person, to follow kosher, even the meat you eat, the animal have to die in a certain way.
Right.
It's not any meat that you buy in the supermarket.
Right.
So there were already some restrictions, to say like that, in our family. So for us, just taking out beef and chicken was like, okay, just like
Yeah.
normal, yeah.
Okay. So is it just you that's vegetarian, or is the whole family also?
Just me.
Just
Okay.
Yeah.
Sydney, you have an organization, a market called Vegan Frenzy.
I have to state that it's a vegan fair.
Oh, it's a
Please call it a
fair?
fair. Yes.
fair.
I'd rather people think of it as like a festival.
Right.
And the market is just a part of it.
Ah, okay.
Yes, because market is just like you come in and you go
Okay.
out, you leave.
Right,
So
right.
The festival is more like we want people to come in and enjoy, like maybe
More
have a day.
celebration. Yes.
Right, to like really hang out and like talk
Okay.
to people and get the community together.
Okay.
So festival.
Festival. It's a
Festival.
fair. It's a
Science. Festival.
Karma.
What else?
so much pressure. Okay, so no, it's actually a very fun activity to be in, and
wow.
everybody's celebrating the freedom
Yes.
of not being restricted to
Yes.
certain kind of diets. Huh? What?
It's just vegetarian food, guys.
Hey, we have some thinking in it. Okay. So yeah, it's fun to be at.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
But
how-
it's bringing more awareness, basically, and more.
Yes. Like I said, I think veganism is very wrong understood in Taiwan. Like these people get really confused.
People don't
and then-
know what's about,
right.
right?
Still, like now is like in this chaotic scene right now, and then people have misinterpretation. So
Okay.
that's why it just caused like problems for
But
consumers.
Vegan is everywhere,
and-
though.
But veganism is basically just
Yeah.
no animal products, right?
Yeah, like
Yes,
dairy, egg,
yes.
everything.
Yeah, no honey even.
Yes, yes.
Vegetarian, vegan.
Okay, okay.
No, vegetarian, vegan.
I don't know. It's
Yes, the second one is right.
More confusing.
Right,
Chen Su.
right. And yes, it is confused in many different countries, but I have to say it's very severe in Taiwan because Taiwan is like our culture is tightly tied with Buddhism.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Buddhism has a total different practice with,
Yes.
with ethics, animal rights. So
we
like,
are dealing with everything.
yeah, and also
every
like it's almost impossible to explain to a local Taiwanese like we are eating this for like not like animal rights. So that's why people just always like define it in the wrong way and use it in the wrong way. So that's why I do
Right.
the event simply for to let people know that this is vegan.
Right.
Like when we say vegan, this is vegan.
Okay,
This is
okay.
not dairy, no egg,
Yeah,
and
no little shrimp.
right, no, no, definitely no shrimps, no shrimp of any
Hey,
kind.
some aunties,
Right.
some aunties cannot cook
Right.
without small shrimps. Yes, they have a process to learn.
Right.
But it's interesting that if you go around the country, especially the southern part of Taiwan, if you talk to old farmers about animal rights, they are very clear about this because they used to farm with their cows,
Right.
and they don't eat.
That's why we don't eat
They
beef
don't
in
eat beef.
Taiwan. A lot
Yes,
of people
a
don't
lot
eat
of
beef
people
because
don't.
In
of that.
India also nowadays.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
You
they're sacred.
respect
yeah.
them, you
Yeah.
thank them, and you appreciate the lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at your Vegan Frenzy fair,
Festival.
yes, are there any, promoting? You've been promoting for a couple of years.
The year I went vegan, the same
Oh,
year.
so that's
Okay.
about eight-ish years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, you really went all out. I'm going vegetarian. I'm starting a festival too. You're gonna do this with me. I'm not gonna do this alone. Let's do this.
So there must be a lot of
Actually, sounds very heroic. I like that.
heroic. Good.
That's a very, very good way to say that.
Do you have any impressive stories to share with us?
There are
on the
actually a
process?
lot, and when you asked me, I was actually thinking there were. Okay, let me think of two incidents. One is like at the very first or second one, and at the time the event was still very small. We usually have like only 20 different brands or vendors to join together. And then at that time there was a bakery owner. She is vegan, and then she also starts her own like bakery at that
Yeah.
time, the same year. And she also felt that the Taiwan thing is like very hard, and like vegans' lives are very hard. So I remember during the event, at the time, she just walked up to me and then she just hold my hand, and then she's like, "Cindy, thank you so much for this event. I cannot express how much I really appreciate you doing this." And then she actually started tearing up. What? And I was like, "Oh my God." And then we were just like bowing there, and we were just like, "Well, what's going on there? Like, are these two okay?" And I was like, "Oh, please don't say that."
Just vegetables.
I know. It was just so touching.
But for them,
because-
it's life-changing.
Yes, and then she's just very happy that like I have this event where people can gather together and we
Yeah.
kind of support each other,
Yes.
and I feel
Yeah.
like
Good
we're never
initiative.
alone.
Not alone. That's
Right.
the big point.
And then she just made me cry like that.
Aw.
Right. That's very
Yeah, because you're kind of
unforgettable.
making a community.
Yes.
Creating a
It
community.
is community.
Yeah.
It is a community.
Because, as I said, when I first started being vegetarian, I didn't know where to go, didn't know what to eat. I didn't have much vegetarian friends. Yeah, but
It can get lonely, huh?
I know her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very hard to be lonely. Whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
you have to find a pal,
Yeah.
a buddy.
Buddy,
Yeah, a
yes,
buddy system.
yes. that's
Whatever you're
good.
pursuing,
That's
a
very
buddy
important.
helps you
Yes.
a long, long way.
So in these recent years, vegetarians, vegans have increased quite a lot. I felt that.
In
Do
my
you?
observation, I think the best thing I'm seeing is that a lot of vegetarians know what vegan is.
Yeah.
After, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, just gradually, a lot of people I know, they're not vegans yet, but they know how to define vegan. And they would say that, "Oh, this is my friend, and this is a vegan diet. They don't use dairy." They can explain this
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
to other people.
okay.
I'm just like, did it!
Nice.
The community is getting stronger.
Yeah, like, it's out
This is
there.
vegan. They like scientific food.
Whatever your reason is for cultural reasons, religious,
Right.
animal rights, environmentalists, I think every kind of, your starting point is good.
Right.
And it's actually a lifestyle
Yeah.
to be vegan, to be environmental friendly.
To be vegetarian.
Yeah, for instance, Nicholas, you're a tattoo artist, and you're based in
Tamsui.
Danshui, Taipei,
Yes.
huh? You actually started using a vegan tattoo ink?
Yes, we do use vegan ink, and a lot of the products are recycled.
Wait. Did you know there are
I'm real
non-vegan
confused.
ink?
No, because no, you never really think about that.
Yeah, what's that about?
Because I just booked a car like 3 months ago. It's coming after 2 months, 6 months waiting. And we can choose vegan interior also.
A vegan interior.
Yes.
Is the dryer also
Yes.
vegan?
Wow.
Can you specify that?
No, vegan interior for your car.
Like no
Fake leather.
leather.
No, yes, no leather,
yeah, yeah.
eco-friendly, and yes, plant-based.
It's actually very famous. I think Bentley had one, and is it
Bentley has,
Mercedes-Benz?
they're
A
like-
few other
yeah,
very
Volvo
big
also
manufacturers,
does.
they're launching it because it's a trend.
Wait, did you know there are
I'm real
non-vegan
confused.
ink?
No, because you never really think about that.
Yeah, what's that about?
Regular ink that it's not tested on animals, and for colors, a lot of color
Are human
food,
animals?
like
No.
tasted.
Yeah, I mean, should be though.
And also to make colors, sometimes you need gelatin that it's made out of bones or cartilage,
see, I
or
see.
for red
Insects,
colors,
yeah.
for food too. Sometimes you use insects, you know.
Right.
So there is a way to make ink not vegan, and in my case that I'm vegan or vegetarian for environmental reasons, the products I use also need to match that conscious, that environmentally friendly part of my life, you know.
Yeah.
So in my work, I also try to put that mindset, you know. And if I have a client that it's also vegan or vegetarian, I will use those inks not because he's vegan, he or she's vegan, but because it's just better in general, you know,
Right.
for the environment.
Okay.
There are even a couple of salons that use vegan products. Yeah, they're very strict on their
Wow.
products. Yeah, salons, when you dye your hair, it's
Right,
actually...
yeah.
In these days, I just booked a car like 3 months ago. It's coming after 2 months, 6 months waiting. And we can choose vegan interior also.
A vegan interior.
Yes.
Is the dryer also
Yes.
vegan?
Wow.
Can you specify that?
No, vegan interior for your car.
like no
Fake leather.
leather.
No, yes, no leather,
leather, yeah,
eco-friendly, and yes, plant-based.
It's actually very famous. I think Bentley had one, and is it
Bentley has,
Mercedes-Benz?
they're
A
like-
few other
yeah,
very
Volvo
big
also
manufacturers,
does.
they're launching it because it's a trend.
Yes.
It's artificial
awesome.
leather, right? Kind
Yes.
of, yeah.
Quality,
It's
quality.
science,
artificial
science.
I know.
Science.
I have fun with science in Taiwan. Whenever I meet children, I ask them if they like gummy bears. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, very much. Very good.
Yes,
And I say,
done.
watch this. And I show them the YouTube video of how Haribos are made. They will never eat gummy
gummy
bears
again.
again.
Well, a good thing is they have a vegan line
Gelatin.
right now.
Yeah, there's new ways of making gelatin, turns
Yes.
out.
Candies, marshmallows, chocolates. Yeah, they go vegan. It's a trend. Okay, so at the last part of our show, I would like everyone to give one suggestion to all of our audiences being the benefits of being vegetarian or vegan. Maddie,
The benefits.
the benefits. The benefits, the good side.
That's a good one.
I think for me, I think good health and easy to meditate. I already mentioned before.
The calmness.
Yes, the calmness and easy to digest.
Right.
No more diseases, what I feel.
Okay.
Because I'm 33 now, so I haven't been to hospital like only one time, but then I had a bike accident with the grace of God. And I don't want to because I have seen many people in the hospital.
Only one?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, at that time, I was driving a bike, so somebody hit me. Then I had to.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So for 1 month, then I realized very hard to.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I'm on right track.
Appreciate.
Yes, my parents, they put me on right place.
Good.
So I'm
That's
following
so
that
good.
track. So
Yeah.
for me, I think that is the main.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sydney.
The benefits, tons. But if it's more like personal, I think it's definitely health.
Yeah.
Because like him, I haven't gone to I haven't got cold in like a long time.
Right.
And in the past 3 or 4 years, I don't even know where my
Chimbao card.
right. I don't
Me
even
too.
know where it is.
I haven't
because
used yet.
I think people underestimate the power of like not getting sick because like modern people eat like all these kind of junk food and they get sick all the time and they think it's normal.
Right.
So like when you were sick, you had a bad mood.
Right.
Like you're frustrated and then you had all kinds of stuff. So it's one and another. So if you're like sickness-free.
Right.
Right, if you're disease-free, you don't have a lot to worry about. It's just,
You're happy.
I can't explain like the feeling of like not have to worry about like the pain
Right.
here, the acne. Like when before I went vegan or vegetarian, I always had acne in college. It was like this giant bump, and I have to like take stickers and the all kinds of oil and medicine,
Right.
and they wouldn't go away.
Right.
But then they all disappear after I went like meatless. And then it's just like that's the only explanation. And if you don't have that, you have more time to worry about the things that matter,
Yeah.
like important, like your job or
Yes.
right, your real life, not
Right.
just
You are
like
more active in your life.
right,
That's cool.
right, not suffering
sleepy.
anymore.
That's convincing. It's very convincing.
What a testimonial.
Yeah. Nicholas.
Because of the environment, it gives you that peace of mind. You know that you're doing something, at least a little bit, that it will not make a huge difference, but it will make a little bit of difference, you know.
A drop in the bucket.
Right? Yeah.
Little contribution.
Last but not least.
John?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously health is going, but it's the repair capabilities of vegetables and herbs and stuff. I mean, I've been hit by cars like 16 times now.
What?
I've had these legs crushed from a speeding car hitting me as I was walking down the road. I've had 4th, 5th vertebrae fractured.
We're so happy to have you on our show.
I've literally had a
really
pen go right through my headrest, tear my cerebral cortex right into my rear brain.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I've been crushed and hung upside down, compacted spines.
Were you a stuntman?
Actually, I started off, but I never got injured until I stopped.
So what healed you?
It was.
Well, basically, it's your exercise, your mind, and what you're eating. Like if you suffer from fractures or broken bones, there's certain vegetables which have bone healing capabilities. They've been using it for thousands of years.
That's awesome.
So if people actually researched vegetables, there's ways that you can use them to get better health. There's lots of recipes on how to make them taste amazing. Because the biggest problem is
I can do many recipes.
taste has to be there.
Right.
Like my kids, they will pick vegetables over cheeseburgers or anything right now because I add just a little bit of cream or butter, a little bit of garlic or whatever. You give them taste, and they like the taste of the vegetables better than a cheeseburger.
Yes.
And it's upbringing as well. You train the kids to the advantages of vegetables versus the junk food.
Yeah.
The health benefits versus the bad health benefits. So they're all around, they're better for your health. Whether you're a vegetarian or not, like even if you just include them with your meals,
Right.
you should have some form of vegetables.
Yeah.
And another thing I've noticed, people love to overcook them, which actually robs the nutrients out of it.
Kills them.
Yeah.
If you steam your broccoli and cauliflower, it's 10 times the health benefit of boiling it for 15 minutes. So that's another thing. Once people understand vegetables and how the medicinal properties of them work,
Yeah.
it just makes you that much better.
Wow.
Yeah.
We can have one episode of John
Yeah.
introducing all the good benefits of vegetables, huh?
Yeah.
And how to cook them.
Man,
For you, how do you feel?
I've always loved vegetables though. I've always enjoyed them.
Yeah?
And yeah, I mean, every now and then I like to, just have a nice big bowl or a big plate of stir-fried greens, a lot of garlic.
Yeah.
And some chili.
Steak.
Ooh, and then with some steak. I think John and I are kind of on the same side here.
Yeah. Hey, but you can try Meatless Monday.
Meatless
at
Monday?
First, like once a day, a week.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just basically incorporating more vegetables into your diet and getting used to the idea of just consuming less.
Oh, yes.
Right.
In
That's-
India, there are some flexitarians who doesn't eat meat on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Okay.
3 days a
Why
week.
those
3 days a
days?
week.
It's a religious purpose.
Yeah. They can
Yeah.
slowly.
Yes, so
Right.
they want to avoid meat.
Yep.
Yeah, and they can have their nutritions and they can have fun. And on no Tuesday, no Thursday, no Saturday. So
Okay.
It's kind of like
Well, I don't think I'm gonna do that, but
Slowly.
I usually have one meatless day a week. I'm just too lazy to cook. It's just
that works too. Environmentally friendly through laziness. I can get behind that.
Hey guys, but today you don't need to be lazy. We have all this food over here. Come join us. Let's
come
go
on.
eat
Thank you
again.
guys so much.
And guys, we'll see you next time on
Wow,
Taiwan. Come on,
Hey.
come on, let's eat.
Let's eat, let's talk. Man.
Yay. Oh, this is so good. Yay.
Real French fries, right?
Oh,
Those are real French fries.
I need a bowl,
French
right?
fries don't need to be vegetarian. But they're probably vegan fries.
Vegan fries?
Vegan fries, yeah, the oil, you know? Yum, yum.
Really good. First time. I want to take my family to
You know, if
this restaurant.
somebody didn't tell me about it,
It has to be真的很像鸡胸肉的味道，口感。
This is vegan.
it's mirroring.
Very close.
我觉得它是豆类。
我可以吃下面的汉堡吗？
I don't mind.
I don't mind. Get some of those eggs.